What's up, Dub Nation? Welcome back to the DubsIn4 Podcast. This is episode 23. Today is December 30th, 2018, and we're here for the last episode of 2018. And today we're just going to be going over everything that has gone on in the past 2 weeks of action since we missed last week, as well as giving a preview for this week up ahead, and then talking about some miscellaneous things, including Patrick McCaw's situation and who the Warriors could potentially target for that last roster spot. So yeah, I'll be getting into all that, so let's just jump right into this because we do have kind of a lot to cover. So yeah, as I mentioned, I did miss last week. It was Christmas time, spending time with my family and stuff, so I just didn't really find the time to record, which is fine. But yeah, we missed last week, so we'll be going over the last 2 weeks of action. The Warriors have had a little bit of an up and down over the past couple weeks. It's been interesting, so we'll go over that. Starting it out, they played the Grizzlies on Monday, 2 weeks ago, so the 17th. This has been a while, but they beat them 93-110. Not really much to say there. Good win against a okay Grizzlies team. The Warriors were kind of on a little bit of a streak there. I mean, that was a 2-game win streak. They had just lost to the Raptors, but they beat the Kings on that comeback that I talked about, and then beat the Grizzlies. So they were building a little bit of momentum, and then went into Utah on the 19th, took a loss, 103-108. Jazz always seem to play the Warriors close, and that one just didn't go their way. Unfortunate, but it happens. The Jazz are a good team, and that's fine. Not a huge deal there, but unfortunately, it didn't really get much better from there. They did beat the Mavericks 116-120 on that Saturday. They were up pretty big in that one, almost choked that lead away, but managed to pull it out. I guess we will check this box score out here. Kevin Durant with 29 points, Steph Curry 22, Draymond 14, 10, and 5. Nice game from him. Oh yeah, this was the Jerebko game where he scored 23. That's a new career high for him. So that was nice to see for Jerebko. He had a pretty nice game there. I watched that one and saw him get that career high, which is a cool moment. So yeah, congrats to Jonas on that one. Next up, they played the Clippers on Sunday, the 23rd, beat them 127-129. Close game, but yeah, they pulled this one out. In the box score, KD with 35 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. Steph Curry 42, kind of went off of there. This was a Steph Curry game-winning layup to put the Clippers away. Just overall a nice game played by those two players, KD, Steph. Draymond with 14 points, which is nice. Klay Thompson was still in his slump with scored only 12. Jerebko started. Did he start? Nope, that's a lie. Oh, maybe he did. Maybe he started at center. Anyway, he got 7 points, which is fine. So yeah, Jerebko's been good. Okay, and that brings us up to the Christmas Day game, which that didn't go our way there. Warriors lost 127-101 in a game that was anticipated. That was at home on Christmas. Seemed like the Warriors were healthy. They were going to play well. Didn't exactly happen that way. Yeah. Steph Curry finishes with only 15. KD with 21. Andre Iguodala had 23. He was the only one who really showed up. LeBron James didn't play pretty much the second half. Finished with 17 points. On the Lakers side of things, Ivica Zubac tore us up with 18 points and 11 boards. Kyle Kuzma had 19. Rondo with 15 off the bench, 10 assists. Pretty much we let the Lakers do whatever they wanted, and that was just unfortunate. Poor game played all around by the Warriors. They didn't really seem like they wanted it, which is weird because Christmas, I don't know. It's I don't really know what to make of them, man. Sometimes they care, sometimes they don't. And honestly, it's fine. Just because the West is so competitive that they're still, right there at the top of the seeding, even with how poorly they've been playing. So taking that loss there was not ideal, but it's going to be okay in the long run. We just have to make sure to keep these things in perspective, because it might seem like they're bad now, but they're still in second place in the conference. I believe they're only a half game out of first behind the Nuggets. So it's just that close in the West, and they can go on a little run and pull ahead. So we'll have to see how the rest of the season goes. We're about halfway through, which is already crazy to think about that it's, the regular season is halfway over, but yeah, we're getting there, and we'll just have to see how the season plays out from here. But yeah, just keep things in perspective. Remember that. And speaking of that, the Warriors played the Trailblazers this past week on the 27th, Thursday. Took a loss 110-109. Man, that game was wild. The Warriors were down about 10 points with like 2 minutes left in regulation. They came all the way back, tied it on a couple clutch shots, sent it to overtime. And then it looked like they were in the lead. They were up 2 points with just under a minute to go. Damian Lillard hits a three. They go up. Steph Curry kind of throws the ball away. If they had just had it and gotten fouled and shot free throws, they would have had the game. But actually they were like shooting pretty poorly from the free throw line, so who knows? But missed free throws cost them that one. Costly turnovers. Just overall didn't execute super well in crunch time. I mean, they did come back from 10 down to force OT, but in the overtime period, they could have definitely played better to close that game out. It's fine. 1 point loss to a good team at home is fine. And then they played the Trailblazers again yesterday and beat them 115-105. So a little bit of a turnaround there. It was nice to see them get a win. Considering they had just, two disappointing losses to the Lakers and Blazers. They finally got a good win against the Trailblazers yesterday. So, and Klay Thompson broke out of his shooting slump finally. I'm sure everybody saw that, where he, told his hand that he missed him, gave him a little kiss, scored, 32 points, made like 5 or 6 threes. Overall, nice shooting game from Klay, 12 for 20 from the field, I believe. So yeah, he finally got his shot back a little bit. And I think we're going to have normal Klay Thompson for the next couple weeks at least, if the trend holds that he's had so far this season, where he started the year really cold, then had that Bulls game where he broke the 3-point record, was really good for about 10 games, and then went back into a slump for about 7 or 8 games. So he's back now. We should have him for at least a couple weeks. If we keep that streak, we'll see if he can stabilize a little bit and get back to a normal 3-point shooting clip there. But that remains to be seen. But yeah, that was nice, good for him, because he definitely needed that. You could tell he's been getting frustrated over these past couple weeks, just watching shots go out of the rim, in and out, and it's just been tough, clanking off the rim and stuff. But I think he's finally starting to get things to go down, so that's good. And we definitely need it at this point too, considering all the things that the Warriors have been going through. Now, if Draymond Green can find a little bit more consistency offensively, I think they'll be in good shape, especially leading up to Boogie's return. They want to try to get that chemistry down as much as they can. So yeah, we don't know when Boogie is exactly coming back. It should be soon. Should be very, very soon, within the next couple of weeks. We will have to see. I mean, there's been differing reports that he might wait until February. It's been interesting, but they definitely do need him, just because that center position is a little bit weaker now with the injury to Damian Jones. We've talked about this, but the only center on the roster right now is Looney. With Boogie hurt, they really only have Looney. Jordan Bell's in and out of the rotation, and even then, he's a little bit too small. Draymond Green is a good defender, but they don't want to use him at center too much. Puts a little too much wear on his body, and again, he's kind of undersized for the position. So they are playing Looney there. They played Jerebko a little bit, but they don't want to continue to do that. So they do want to keep that 15th roster spot open for a center, but we'll get into that in a little bit. First of all, we're going to talk about this upcoming week. So the Warriors play 3 times this week. They have the Suns in Phoenix on the road tomorrow, Rockets at home on Thursday, and the Kings on the road on Saturday. So 3 games. Should be able to take care of business tomorrow night against the Suns. I mean, I don't want to say that with how inconsistently they've been playing lately, but Suns have the worst record in the Western Conference. Is it the worst record in the league? Let's do a little check. No, it's not. They're 1 game better than the Cavs. They're tied with the Knicks, 9-28. So either way, not very good. But even so, they've been on a little bit of a streak lately. I believe they won like 4 or 5 in a row. They've lost their last couple, but before that, they were playing pretty nicely. Suns are interesting, man. They have newly acquired Kelly Oubre. They traded away Ariza for Kelly Oubre. They've got an interesting team. We'll see how DeAndre Ayton plays, Devin Booker, stuff like that. But it should be nice. The Warriors should try to get their footing back a little bit in that one, to see if they can get their rhythm going, get that chemistry back on track. We'll see how Klay plays, if he's able to, keep his shot going. If Draymond Green can find a little more consistency offensively, we talked about that. And then Steph Curry and KD should be in rhythm. So we'll see how that one goes. But that should be good for them, just to kind of get their rhythm going and trying out some, getting back into shape and stuff, and not taking unnecessary losses to bad teams. So hopefully that won't happen. Following that Suns game, they have the Rockets on Thursday at home. So that one's going to be a little bit tougher. Obviously, Rockets have been playing well lately. I believe they will be without Chris Paul. I don't know for sure how long he'd be out, but I'm pretty sure his injury will keep him out for that game. I don't think they're not going to rush him back or anything. They're in no rush to bring Chris Paul back early. They need him for the playoffs, not now. But James Harden has been on an absolute tear lately. In his last 10 games, the Rockets are 9-1. He's averaging nearly 40 points, rounding back into MVP form. As much as I dislike Harden, with the flopping that he gets away with on the calls and traveling step backs and all sorts of things, you got to respect his game a little bit, dude. 40 points per game is nothing to laugh at. In his last 10, he's been going off. So they'll have to be careful of that. I'm expecting a big game from James Harden, but as long as they can limit what he can do as much as they can and lock down the rest of the guys, I think they'll be okay. Capella might be a problem considering, we only have Looney at center and he can't play the entire game. And even then, he's not an elite defender. He's good, but he's not an elite defender. We'll have to see what Capella ends up doing to us, but that one should be interesting. Obviously, any game against the Rockets is always going to be, a tough one for the Warriors. They almost took him out in the playoffs last year. Even without Chris Paul, I think they'll still be good. So at home, though, that one will be a challenge for sure. But I am excited to see that game. It'll show whether the Warriors are about to go on a little bit of a run here or if they're going to continue to struggle for the next couple weeks. We'll have to see. And then the third game this week is the Kings on Saturday on the road. Kings, again, are surprising. They've played the Kings probably 2 or 3 times this year already, so they're meeting again. But yeah, I mean, the Kings are the Kings. They're actually good, which surprised me. Again, before the season, I pegged them as the worst team. I do not think that anymore. I don't think Marvin Bagley will be back. He's out in at least a couple of weeks, but they've got De'Aaron Fox, Bielitsa, Willie Cauley-Stein. They've got good players, which is interesting. The Kings have a deep rotation. They're actually challenging for the playoffs this year. De'Aaron Fox has been an absolute monster, so they're a nice, interesting young team, and getting them on the road. Before I would think of games against Sacramento as a pushover, but not anymore. You have to actually try to beat them now, which is good for them because they haven't been that way in a while. Okay, so that's the upcoming games this week. So that'll be nice. 3 games. They got a nice little break. Play the Suns tomorrow. Have a couple days rest until they get Houston, and then a day of rest until the Kings on Saturday. So that's nice. A nice little kind of quiet week for them. They are on a little bit of a road trip to Phoenix, but they'll be home. And then Rockets at home. Sacramento's not too far from California, so they should be back. And then they get a nice little homestand after that for a couple games. So yeah, we want to move into Patrick McCaw now, switching gears. Finally, that situation has come to a close. Just a couple hours ago, in fact, it's become official. So basically, a couple days ago, Patrick signed an offer sheet with the Cavaliers for 2 years worth $6 million. So about $3 million a season, non-guaranteed. So yeah, no guaranteed money. But he signed the deal, and the Warriors had 48 hours to match, and they elected not to. So leading up to the deadline to match the deal, a lot of people were saying, well, maybe they'll just match it to keep him, see what he'll do. If he'll come in for a physical, they can keep him for a trade chip. They probably wouldn't want to bring him back to the locker room considering the struggles they've had lately. They don't really have a need at the position right now because they want to keep that last roster spot open for a center. There were rumors that it was coming down to McCaw versus McKinney because McKinney's a couple years older. He might not have as high of a ceiling. McCaw might have better upside, but again, McKinney's probably a more polished prospect right now. And McKinney wants to be there. McCaw has made it clear that he did not. For whatever reason, McCaw did not want to be in the locker room. He didn't want to be a part of the team. He seemed like he needed a change of scenery, so the Warriors gave it to him. They chose not to match the deal, which honestly I think is the right call. If they were to keep him as a trade chip, I don't really know what kind of deals were out there for them at the time. I wouldn't think they're looking to move particularly anybody on the roster. I wouldn't say anybody on the roster is super on the trade block right now. Maybe if anyone, it would be Jordan Bell, Jacob Evans, but that would only be to get a center if they can. They're looking for a backup center, at least to back up Looney, and even when Boogie comes back, they could still use another center for their rotation. They're pretty thin there right now. And so they're looking for other options. But for right now, Patrick McCaw is no longer on the team, that situation has resolved. He's signed with the Cavaliers. The Warriors did not match, and so the Cavaliers now have McCaw for 2 seasons. The deal is not guaranteed, so they can cut him at any point. But, I mean, considering everything, that's pretty good for him. He gets to go to a young team where it seems like he wanted to play, he wanted minutes, and he'll get that there. The Cavs will let him play, and he can kind of show what he can do, see what happens there. But yeah, he will get a chance to play. He might get a chance to start. We'll see what they decide to do. But the Cavs are not very good, and so getting that opportunity is good for him. He'll be able to, play there rather than in Golden State where he was in the rotation, but not every night and not for super often, not for super long. So in Cleveland, he'll be able to play a little bit more. I guess that's what he wanted, and so fine. So be it. Not really sure what advice he was taking, what he was listening to. He didn't really get any more money out of this. The Warriors' offer was pretty similar from what I recall. The qualifying offer was realistically almost the same. Maybe he got an extra $500K. But he waited forever to do it, and who knows if that was worth it or not, but whatever. And it's non-guaranteed is the thing, so they could just cut him and he might not get any of that. But yeah, I'll be interested to see him. I'll watch probably a couple Cavs games if he's playing, see what he's able to do, if he's able to take his career anywhere else. But, he's a 2-time NBA champion, so signing with the Cavs, maybe the Cavs are going to win the title this year. Who knows, man? Patrick McCaw, he's 2 for 2, so he could take them to the glory land, take them to the promised land, man. Deliver the Cavaliers another title. LeBron could only give them 1. Maybe McCaw can give them a couple more. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so that's that. That situation's finally over. So the Warriors can move on to, looking at that 15th roster spot and seeing what they do want to do there. Because obviously they're going to bring somebody in before the playoffs. Whether that's upgrading one of their guys that's on a 2-way deal, somebody from the G League, that would be Damian Lee or Marcus Derrickson. They don't really have a need at wing, so I don't know about Damian Lee. Derrickson is big, but he doesn't play center, I don't think. I think he only plays power forward. So they definitely do need a center. There's been rumors they're looking at Robin Lopez on the buyout market. I could see that happening, but again, that might not be for a while, considering buyouts usually don't happen until near or around the trade deadline. So that would be February-ish. We'll have to see if that does happen. I would like Robin Lopez on the team. I mean, that'd be cool. He could do something, backup center wise. I think he still has a little bit left in the tank. He can contribute a little bit. He has been known to be kind of crazy, a little bit of a temper, but I think he'd be okay. So if we could get Rolo, that'd be fine with me. Another name that came to my mind was Jared Dudley. I know that he doesn't play a ton of center. He plays mostly power forward. He's kind of undersized. I believe he's only 6'7". So that might not be a great option, but if he also ends up getting bought out, that could be a decent target for them. I'm not really sure who else, what other centers are on deals that are buyout targets. But they will have to see. Hopefully they can get somebody on the buyout market. If not, I mean, we'll see what things look like once Boogie comes back, because hopefully he will be coming back relatively soon. The Warriors could always pick somebody up from the G League off the scrap heap. I'm sure their scouts are doing what they can to find any sort of center talent that they might be able to use, because they do have a definite need at the position now. It's unfortunate that they let both JaVale and Zaza walk last summer. I mean, they were fine at center until Damian Jones went out, and now they obviously you can't foresee things like that. But they definitely are going to need to pick somebody up. So we will just have to see what they elect to do. But I don't know. I don't know what they want to do with that last roster spot. I doubt they can really make a trade. That's the thing. Basically, I'm not sure if they can just straight up trade a draft pick for a guy on a minimum deal, or if they would have to send away matching salaries. I'm not sure exactly how that works. If they have an open roster spot, they might just be able to trade away a second round pick for somebody on a minimum deal. Or even their first rounder, if because it's obviously going to be a late first rounder, so it won't be worth too much. They can maybe get a decent guy for that pick. I could see them trading Jacob Evans maybe for somebody. As much as I would hate it, Jordan Bell is probably on the trade block. I don't really see them trading anybody else on the team right now. Iguodala's safe, Livingston's safe, Jerebko's safe. Obviously, the All-Stars are safe. I'm not sure. I think Quinn Cook is probably safe. Let me just look at the roster here. McKinney, maybe. I'd say, and then obviously Looney, they wouldn't trade him. There's no reason because they're looking for players at his position. I don't know. Like Damian Lee, Marcus Derrickson, they're probably not worth too much on two-way deals. So realistically, the only guys on the trade like that they would be able to trade would be Evans and probably Bell. But again, Bell kind of plays the position that they're looking for too. So Evans, but he's also their youngest prospect. He's a rookie. They don't really know what he's going to turn into yet, and other teams don't either. So we don't really know what his value is as a late first round pick. So I don't really know what their options are here. They could sign somebody in free agency up from the G League, get somebody on the buyout market by waiting a couple weeks. Don't really know, but I would like Robin Lopez. Jared Dudley would be okay. If anybody has any other ideas, let me know. I haven't really done too much research on it, but I need to look into some buyout candidates or centers on cheap deals that they might be able to trade for, something like that. But we will just have to see what ends up happening there, because I'm sure the front office is working on it. I think they're aware that they have a need at the position. They know, and we'll have to see if they elect to do anything there. So I think that's going to be it for this episode. Just talking about the McCaw situation and what they can potentially do at center. Thanks you guys for bearing with me for the last long while. We've been going for a while now. It's the new year, so this is the last episode of 2018. We're moving into 2019. I'm happy with where this is. I feel like I'm getting a lot better, just with my skills and talking and being clear and everything. So I guess that's good. We'll have to see what I do with this moving forward, but I definitely do think this is something I want to pursue. So anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week with an episode in the new year. Love you guys a lot. This is cool. It's cool that I get to do this. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.